Hello, today I wanted to talk about abortion. A couple weeks ago I had a conversation about abortion and it did not go remotely how I thought it would go. I kind of got annoyed and a little, not even a little, very emotional. I got very emotional over the conversation because what was being said about getting an abortion is that if a woman gets with a man who isn't shit, your regular type of man who comes into the picture, has sex with you, then winds up leaving you, messing around with another female, and then you find out you get pregnant, and then all of a sudden, you're just like, you know what, the father's not going to be shit, he's not going to be there, he did me wrong, so I'm going to get an abortion. I feel as though that is not the correct that's not the correct stance that you should be following, or the path that you would want your own children to follow, especially when you already have a child and you go and think that it's okay and it's cool for you to get this abortion. I feel like you made a choice. You made a decision. You decided that you were going to open your legs. You decided that you were going to let this man come into your paradise and show you something that you wanted, and more so give you something that you wanted. And maybe you didn't want pregnancy out of the situation, but you have to own up to that choice. You have to own up to that mistake that you made. But to get rid of a life just because you feel as though the father's not going to be there and he cheated on you and you're doing it out of because you're an emotional wreck at the moment, I feel like it's not a smart thing to do. I feel like a lot of women don't realize that when they get an abortion, it's not just I'm going to go here and get rid of my child because, whatever the situation may be. You have to think long and hard about that. It could damage your body. You could wind up not being able to get pregnant again if you really actually wanted to, if you found that man who was going to love you, who was going to marry you and stay in your life, and you wanted to have a family with him, there's a possibility that you couldn't. And it's scary to think that there's a lot of women out here in this world, and not even women, but teenage girls who think that it's cool and okay to just get an abortion just because they made a mistake. Or even when families are like, oh no, you can't have this child. What are we going to do with another one? Granted, we have so many laws today and stating that it's a woman's right and it's her prerogative to do whatever she wants to do with her body. But I personally disagree. I feel as though that life is not your body. And that life growing inside of your stomach it's not your body, and it's not right for you to think that it's okay to go and get an abortion just because the man's not going to be a part of your life. Now, I'm not even going to say a couple years ago, this has been a while ago. I was in high school. My 10th grade year, I did a graduation project, and it was and also a research paper on pregnancy. So I had to go deeper into, the research of abortion, and I said pregnancy, sorry. I did a research paper and graduation project on pregnancy. I said it again, on abortion. And I found out so much information about abortion, and I was not even expecting it. I mean, there's even websites where there are women who died from getting an abortion because it wasn't done properly. And I feel like that's something else that women should also know about before going and thinking that their only option is abortion. I mean, come on, there's a lot of women out here who would really, really love to take care of a child. And granted, I know that it's a scary thought to go through the pregnancy and to get emotionally attached to your child and the growth process, and get to a point where you're just like, I don't want to hand my child over. But even still going through that process, there are women out there and even couples out there who are willing to have an open adoption, which basically means if you want to give your child up for adoption because you can't financially take care of them, you can still come and visit them. You can see them when they're growing up. You have visiting rights, basically. So it's like you're co-parenting, but they're the main supplier. They're the ones who are going to do all of the extra work that you couldn't do or provide for your child, but you'll still be able to see them. You'll still be able to see them grow up, come to birthdays and stuff like that. So with that being said, I've seen videos on abortion where I literally got to see the fetus. And it's an emotional process. It really is. Like, I've even seen that they've gone all the way up to, I believe, the 3rd trimester, which is basically the baby is kind of already like a full child, and they take the child out of her system, and some places will just leave it out to die, or they'll use this salt and some other things to cause the child to die faster. And I just feel like that's wrong. And if you don't have a good enough reason to get an abortion because you made a mistake and the man is not going to be there, I don't think you have a right to take your child's life. I mean, it's emotional for me to talk about because I know plenty of people who have either gotten an abortion and told other people that they had a miscarriage, even though that wasn't the truth. And I know other people who wanted to get an abortion and it didn't work out. And their child is here. They're happy, they're living well, and they're going to school, and they're coming back talking like, you know, "Hi, mom, and look, guess what I did today, and I made a new friend," or, you know, wanting help with their homework, or wanting to just talk to them. And it's sad to really sit here and think that a woman who, in reality, doing that research, wouldn't have even had this right if it wasn't for Roe versus Wade. Now, a little bit on Roe versus Wade, okay? There was a woman named Linda Caulfield. I believe it was Linda Caulfield. I'm probably going to get the names mixed up, but you can go online and you can look this up, Roe versus Wade. There was 2 women who went to trial because they wanted abortion to be legal. They were going to lose. From my recollection of my research, they were going to lose this trial. The only reason that they won was because a woman lied and was trying to fight the idea that, what if I got raped? You know? What if a woman gets raped? They should have a right to their body. They should be able to get that abortion because they went through a traumatizing experience, and at the end of the day, they don't want to carry something that's going to remind them of what happened to them. Which I understand from that viewpoint. I do. But this woman whom they used, because she was never in court. Not once did she show her face. Not once did she show her face in court. And they used her story to win. And they did. To only find out 10 years later that this same woman who lied for these women was a lesbian and had 2 or 3 children of her own. How do you respect a law that allows women to have an abortion when these 2 women wouldn't have won the case? They wouldn't have won the case had this other woman did not lie. And now she's trying to go, she's, in her words, and I'm just going to simplify it, basically. She went to a doctor's office one day and she saw a picture, and it had all of this information on abortion, and I guess she did her own research, and she didn't like what she saw. And now she started, she became a Christian. She's not, gay anymore. She's not bisexual or whatever the case was. She's not a lesbian. And she started to make this movement, and she started protesting that abortion should not be legal anymore. Granted, I am happy and glad that she is going about doing this protest, but at the same time, you were the reason who caused this. And it makes sense, because it's like it's cause and effect. You cause something, and then there's an effect, and it's either you're going to try to fix the situation or you're not, because you stand by it 100%. But the fact that you lied and they ran with this story, and now you're coming back and you're trying to change and fix things because you messed up and you did wrong, that's a lot to swallow. That's a lot to swallow. And it grinds my gears. It really does. It grinds my gears to know that this woman really did that. Because now we have a lot of women out here in the world who are just getting abortions just to be getting abortions. Like I understand pro-choice, their side of the story. And even at one point when I was doing my research, I felt like pro-life didn't really have enough evidence or enough liability to try to change this law, because a lot of their focus was just on the idea that just things from the Bible, and just the idea of I'm trying to fix my words and think of the right thing to say, but we all know what the main focus was. It's pro-life. The fetus is a life too. It's not just some, thing that's in your stomach. It's not. I mean, come on, think about eggs. I know there's a lot of people in this world who eat scrambled eggs or just eats the yolk or does whatever they do with the egg. But at the end of the day, had we not have eaten that egg, that would have been a chicken. So technically we killed a chicken because we ate that egg. It's the same thing as a fetus growing inside a woman. You are still killing a life. A fetus is a life. An egg is a life. Sperm is life. I just feel that abortion shouldn't be legal. And I know that if it was to be condemned all around the world, there would still be doctors who would try to make money off of it, who would try to, find any kind of woman or teenage girl who's, stuck in a rut and they want to get rid of their child so bad that they're willing to risk their own life to get rid of their child. And I think that's horrible. I feel like women need to start respecting themselves more. And women need to start realizing that your choices put you in the predicaments that you get into. And the outcome of those choices you're going to have to deal with. I mean, and even men. Men will sit over here and argue that, okay, some men will be like, I want to be a part of my child's life. I have a right. And I love those men because they care about that life. But because we have all this feminism going around, and because we have all these laws stating that a woman can do whatever she wants with her body, women think that, oh, well, it doesn't matter. I don't care what the man thinks because this is my body and I have to carry the child and I don't want to do that. And that's a life. Like, do realize and understand that if your own mother wanted to abort you, you would not be here. And let's just say that you got older and you found out that your mom did want to abort you. How would you feel about that? How would you feel knowing that your mom could have possibly not have wanted you and kept it to herself for so long, and then you wind up finding either through her or through the grapevine by someone else, your auntie, your uncle, a cousin, someone, and they come to you and they tell you, well, at one point in time, your mom didn't want you. She was going to abort you. She was going to get rid of you. How would you feel? I feel like every life has a purpose. And when you get pregnant, it is your job and it is your duty to do the best that you can by your child. By that life. That is a life inside of you. And abortion is not the answer to everything. There is adoption. And honestly, that's really all I have to say about it. I'm not for abortion at all, for any reason or any circumstance. Because a lot of women who do get abortions are teenage girls who made wrong choices, or women. And I've even heard a crazy story that even some women will go out and have this lifestyle where they just have sex with whoever they want to have sex with. And every single time they get an abortion, every single time they have these sexual encounters, they get an abortion. Every single time they get pregnant. So I don't agree that it should be there. I don't agree with that law. But then again, it comes down to choices. And people don't always make the right choices. They don't always make the right decisions. And they definitely don't always make the right choices or decisions after making a choice or decision that has a cause and effect. But I'm stating that if you do your research on abortion, you would understand more of where I'm coming from as a pro-life supporter. And honestly, that's all I really have to say about it. So leave your comments underneath. Let me know how you feel. And I honestly hope that I don't get anyone who wants to be rude, who wants to be ignorant. But that's just what comes with the territory when you're talking about controversial issues. So, so be it. But other than that, have a great rest of your day.